Been thinking a lot lately about being this visionary entrepreneur who's driven, also has an ADHD brain with a little touch of autism on there. And having a conversation with Nicole Pitchy here about having your objective strategic partner to help clarify your vision. Because the visionary is future focused. We know where we want to go. The execution part is where we've been able to do it in the past. I wouldn't say very efficiently or effectively, but we've been able to do it. And then we hire people to help us with this execution. And either we just do it ourselves anyways, because they're not doing it quick enough, because they can't figure it out. And we just get frustrated with everyone, so we just do it ourselves. One, because that's the way we were trained by society, or the way our background is. No one wanted to support us, so we just did it anyway. But being a rugged individual entrepreneur and at a startup, especially if you're a startup, you started by yourself, you did everything yourself, you figured it all out. So it just becomes a habit, or our patience is small. So if you can't figure it out, give it to me, I'll just do it. But in the end, like Nicole said, is we don't take a break to take a pause, right? We don't take a breath before we react. And we usually react before we take that breath. And that's where my biggest frustrations have been, is my team not figuring shit out. They're too slow. They can't see it. They can't see and understand. They've got too many questions. They want to do things so slow. And these are all my perceptions. And like she said, these are my frustrations. They're mine, not theirs. Now, granted, they do get frustrated by dealing with this and being very emotional. And with our ADHD brains, having amplified emotions can have negative impacts. And like when she said, your frustrations are your own, I just had an experience here, which it was poor delegation. Yeah, it's not written. Did I completely explain to them why the next few days is very critical? We follow schedule and my directions succinctly in my order. I don't have time to explain everything in detail, so you understand where we're going. You just need to trust me. It's just, I think a lot of that was in my head, and again, frustrated with that. So the visionary entrepreneur is highly misunderstood. We're a small percentage of the population. ADHD entrepreneurs is also a small minority of the population, and also a small minority population of the entrepreneurial world. So the visionary entrepreneur, I think, is its own class. We have a very great skill on seeing the future clearly, but that is the outcome. Ow, I just hit the mic stand. Sorry, that hurt my thumb. That's the outcome. And we're used to just going for it, and we're very adaptable, because if we hit an obstacle or a roadblock, we can hit it, adapt, pivot, jump over it, figure out, and continue. While the team that you've hired, they don't have that mobility. They need that direction. They need to understand the roadmap. They need to go understand how and where they want to go, or where you want the company to go, or the task, and give them the ins and outs of the plan so they can come up with their own risk assessments as they execute it. And we make a lot of big assumptions that everyone's wired like us, everyone thinks like us, everyone goes our speed, but they don't. And it's not I'm criticizing everyone else, because I'll tell you what, they have definitely criticized me, times being over emotional, impatient, get frustrated. It's a two-way street. I don't quite understand how their brain works, why they need to do certain things. I just respect and value that they do it, because I'll tell you one thing: when I completely give the team exactly that task, and I leave them be, as long as we got a well-defined execution plan, they can get it done quicker, because they go on that path while I jump around and move around and take whatever's coming in and whatnot. So the visionary entrepreneur has its role. We need that interpreter, communicator to the team, but it's also having that person that can help us dissect how to get it done. It's not necessarily working for me to lay out the steps, step by step. The future's there. I want to get there. And here's 4 big milestones. Okay. Maybe mile boulders or mile mountains. Okay. But it's the in between part we need to refine further. So instead of having, we're going to have our mountains, our peaks to get to, but then we're going to have more boulders in between. And that's where we need to provide those boulders or clarity on how to achieve, how to get to those boulders, because there's roadblocks in between each. And that person will bring you down to earth almost. So you can see, hey, look down instead of up. Oh, yeah, you're going to have this, this, this. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, yeah, if you hit this, then go there and do this. But in between those milestones, now the team they got a shorter gap to deal with, and they feel comfortable with that because that next milestone is in their sights. So they can plan that next step because they can see the outcome. While for us, we're, like Nicole said, we're at the 40,000 foot level, and I can see those mountain peaks where we're going. That's easy. But they're the ones, the boots on the ground. They're the ones walking from milestone to milestone, from mile boulder to mile boulder to get to the mile mountains. Actually, I'm kind of liking this analogy. And we're just not wired that way as a visionary entrepreneur to do that excuse. We don't default to that. We just default to the mountains. We can get to the mountains. I could always see it. If I don't see it, I know it's there. As long as we're going in the right direction, we'll do it. So I think that's the big thing we got to realize is visionary entrepreneurs. For the company to grow, we need to be ourselves the visionary to deal with the things that come up. And the team is there to do the executable part to achieve the vision that we have. But they can't do it alone. They still need us to a certain degree. As much as we get involved, we'll confuse the matter. But at the beginning, they need to have a clear direction of the next step. And that next step has to be in their line of vision, in their brain line of vision. And we're just used to not seeing the stuff where we're going. We just know over there, over the mountain or over the hill, that's where we want to be. And we have that faith. And don't forget, the team does want to help you achieve your vision. They just need to understand how they can help you and support you. They're more, how did I write this down before? I got a piece of paper here I wrote earlier. They're just looking for direction because really all they care about is how to get there. They care about the vision, but in reality, their priority is caring how to get there. And that means they need the priorities defined. They need the direction from you, which might be a little frustrating for our brains to provide it. But let me tell you, for that extra hour you sit down to make sure they go on the right path will save you multiple hours of misdirection and redirecting. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with it. Like when I finally realized that I'm not the planner, I'm the global strategist, not the strategy from point A to point B. And thing is, I keep changing the path, which is frustrating to my team. So that's the end thing we got to be realizing. What is your role? You can be the entrepreneur that's not the visionary, but you're really good at the strategy. Stick to that. And if your partner is the visionary, let them do that. Just make sure you get together, you understand each other's roles, and that's your unique ability, and that's what you do well. And remember, we're the bullet train, our team, our cargo trains. Not saying they're slow and bulky. It's just that they can't keep up to us, and they should not be trying to keep up with us. But at the same time, we've got to stop at the next train station to wait for them so we can have a little discussion before I bullet it off again. And taking that time, it might be frustrating for us, but I'll tell you one thing, that's equally reciprocated to the team being frustrated that we're not providing that direction, right? It's not that the way we work is the only way to work. We've got to have a compromise. If you want that help from the people, you got to value their differences. And their differences is valuable to the company. So if you don't value that, you're going to just go on your own. It's going to be testing you. It's going to challenge your patience. It's going to be frustrating. But in the end, what's the outcome? Is the outcome the result of a greater, bigger future? Then that frustration will probably be worth it. Redirect it, that energy, give them the clarity on the next step, and then you go back and do your thing. So thanks again for listening. We'll talk to you soon.